Welcome back, everyone. The freedom to practice any religion is as American as apple pie. So is the separation of church and state. But one case in Oklahoma might soon blur that separation. That case was argued before the Supreme Court today, and it pits the state's Republican governor, who supports the Catholic diocese's attempt to establish a religious charter school using taxpayer dollars, against the state's attorney general, who does not. Our senior national correspondent Steve Osunsami spoke to both of them and has this report from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is one of those places where the sky just looks bigger, where cattle ranches stretch as far as the eye can see, and where there are more God-fearing Christians than in most other states across America. So for Oklahoma's governor, it's an easy call to stand behind a surprising decision that might create the country's first religious public school in Oklahoma City.
We're a nation that believes in God, and so why are we trying to discriminate against this person or that person? Let's open it up and let's let parents choose what's best for them.
The way it works across the country is that any person or group can ask a state to create a charter school that meets the particular interests or needs of their children. WXYZ. And these are truly public schools because they get public money. Like this one we visited in Georgia for students, some of them young children, who work in the state's television and film industry.
Good morning, Utopian Academy. Welcome to another undeniably unique day here at the U.
About 2 years ago in Oklahoma, this Catholic archdiocese asked the state to create a religious virtual charter school called St. Isidore for grades K through 12 that the church would run with state funding. And a state charter school commission said yes, explaining that they didn't feel like discriminating against Christians. They've been fighting with lawsuits here ever since, meeting today in front of the U.S. Supreme Court, where the justices were divided.
We are thankful to the U.S. Supreme Court for hearing our case today.
We think it's illegal to discriminate based on someone's faith or religion, right? And so if you're going to have a public benefit, if you're going to have charter schools in your state, you cannot discriminate against a Catholic charter school or a Jewish charter school or a Christian or anything. We think you can't, and we're excited the Supreme Court is going to hear this.
But there's the other side of it. The other side, of course, is using public dollars to give to a religious entity to run a school.
You know, that is a terrible argument, and I'll tell you why. In Oklahoma, for example, we have Sooner Care, what we call our Medicaid program. We have 1 million Oklahomans on it. So they can go use a Christian doctor, a Catholic hospital, they can go use a Muslim doctor, anybody that's willing to take that. Those are public dollars going to a private business that's meeting that need. It's a free market principle. Why is education any different?
He also points out that Oklahoma parents can already send their kids to religious schools using public money by using private school vouchers, which the state pays for. And so he says that drawing the line at the government creating a religious school seems silly.
And let me remind you this, you don't have to send your kids to the Catholic school. I did a town hall just the other day and a parent said, what do you say if I don't agree with your religion? I'm like, great, you don't have to go to St. Isidore. You don't have to send your kids there. You can send your kids to any number of other schools. That's what freedom is about, and that's what religious freedom, and that's what school choice is about.
When my daughter was in 2nd grade, we noticed that she was having really poor reading skills.
This isn't your typical political fight with both conservative and liberal parents on each side. The argument over what might be best for children is up against very familiar language in state and federal law that this country was built on, saying that the state can't sponsor religion.
200 families in Oklahoma immediately signed up for this school, so there is a high demand among parents to have better educational alternatives in Oklahoma.
Last year, the case was here at the state Supreme Court in Oklahoma.
If that's what this court decides, so be it.
And they said no to the new school, deciding that the line between church and state is written more clearly in the state constitution than some might think. About 400 parents who had planned to send their kids this school year to St. Isidore were upset.
We came from like a private school, a Catholic school, so this would have been a more affordable option for us. I'm nervous to just fully homeschool.
Have you heard from a lot of parents on this?
Many parents have reached out and said thank you.
And the lead lawyer fighting against the Christians is a Christian himself, the conservative Republican Attorney General of Oklahoma, Mr. Gentner Drummond.
If St. Isidore wins, then we will have Jewish and Muslim families paying for Christian education. And the Christians, who are the majority of Oklahoma, may not like it when the Christian families and the Muslim families are paying for Jewish religion, or the Jewish and Christian families are paying for Muslim religion, or the people that don't want any religion are paying for a multitude of religions. If you fund a Catholic school today, then you must fund the Baptist school tomorrow, the Methodist school the day thereafter, the Wicca school, the Satanic school, the Christian Scientist school. Once we've started down the slope, the door is open.
He says if the U.S. Supreme Court decides against him, this will destroy the charter school system as we know it. Currently, 45 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico say that these are public schools, where kids, for example, can't be taught how Jesus Christ died for their sins.
So what you will see as a result, we will have states that discontinue charter schools. Those that are unwilling to establish religion will stop. We have a governor who is not an attorney. We have an attorney general who is an attorney and is unafraid to do the right thing regardless of the cost. And in this instance, until my Constitution of the United States is altered or my Constitution of Oklahoma is altered, I must defend the law.
The leading national group for charter schools in America agrees with him, saying in a statement that this could be catastrophic for nearly 4 million students. A decision in favor of religious charter schools will spark years of litigation. In some states, it could mean the end of charter schools, the only means of school choice for many families altogether.
I totally disagree. Okay, let me ask you this. So, do you go to a Catholic hospital?
I would go to a Catholic hospital,
Okay,
you're right.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so I really find it offensive that the Attorney General is trying to, use the term radical Muslim, and he's trying to say all these things about these other charter schools that would come into place, when this is what religious freedoms are about. To me, it's just perfectly clear that St. Isidore should be able to offer this service in Oklahoma if they're going to be a charter school like any other charter school.
For now, about 200 families here in Oklahoma who were hoping to send their kids to this new religious school will have to wait. The High Court won't decide until summer at the earliest which of the God-fearing people on either side of this struggle are in the right.